Today's guest is a local baseball coach based in the Corbett Field dugout. He's getting awfully used to winning region championships and can look back on playing with big leaguers coming up. Joined now by Bishop Ryan head baseball coach Ben Magnuson. Ben, obviously in a holding pattern for the baseball season, but what did you think you had in the Bishop Ryan team that was set to come back this season or maybe into next spring if you have to?
Honestly, we were. It was looking promising. I thought we had a lot of leadership back. I thought we had a lot of talent back. Only 3 seniors, so obviously we've been young the last couple of years with a lot of young, talented kids, and I know the kids were excited about it. Us coaches were super excited about it. It's just kind of a bummer, it's a bummer not just for us, for everybody. We're looking forward to really compete. Surrey was going to have a solid team this year. Velva was going to have a solid team this year. We're looking forward to competing in a pretty competitive region. And we thought if we could get out of our region, we'd give ourselves a chance at least competing for a state championship. We thought that we had the personalities, the talent, every bit and piece that we needed to compete, and I thought we had that opportunity, and this is kind of just putting a damper on everything.
What is that personality trait you kind of refer to that you don't see on paper?
It's different personalities. You got to have those kids that take everything very seriously and are there just to compete every day, but you also have to have a fun side of it. It can't all be it can't all be grind every single day. It's got to have some fun stuff. We had guys like Kersey Harris, who obviously a lot of people know in the community just because he's got a personality. We got guys like that. And then on the very flip side of it, you have Calvin Watkins, who's just nose to the grindstone, just wants to work every day. But at the same time, they both are leaders. They're different kind of leaders. We had a little bit of everything. We had young guys that were comfortable. They didn't see older guys as a competition. They saw them as teammates, and we had a lot of different personalities that I thought were going to fit well and kind of give us what we needed to, like I said, compete at the highest level.
Who has to take over for Calvin and Kersey, in the next year? These are guys that are going to be playing college baseball, and it's got to be tough to fill those shoes.
I don't want to say you can just pick guys to replace those two, because those two are very irreplaceable. It's going to have to be a committee. We do have some talented young guys coming up, some guys that are continuing. The biggest thing is playing baseball in the summer. A lot of guys that don't play baseball in the summer, you kind of fall behind. Those extra 30, 40 games, those extra 70 days of just playing, you kind of fall behind a little bit. So we have a lot of young guys that are staying and playing summer baseball, and it's going to be a committee thing to replace those two. It's tough to just say that you can replace them with a couple of guys.
Is it so much so that summer experience makes the difference between starting or benching or JV or varsity?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. I don't look at summer kids. They get the opportunity to play every day. You just don't know how kids are going to progress from their freshman to sophomore year. One kid might be the same height and same weight. One kid might put 3 inches on and gain 20 pounds. Well, we're going to evaluate the next year how the kids come in, how we see them in practice. There's no favors because this kid played summer ball and this kid didn't. It's just that it really does help. I played summer ball my whole life, and I can just say from experience, it really helps. And especially when you're in Minot and at Bishop Ryan, you get the advantage of going to play against the Class A kids. And there obviously is more talent at the Class A level because there's more kids to choose from. And when you get to go and expose yourself to better talent, it's just going to naturally make yourself better. And I thought that helped me a bunch, and I think it helps these kids in a bunch if they go and play that.
I didn't mean it like a coach favoring a kid that happens to play it, but I mean the skill development shows up.
Oh, yeah, for sure it does. You can tell when a kid has taken 600 more ground balls in a summer. A kid has taken 600 more pop fly. He's seen the ball off the bat more often than he does. And sometimes in the spring you barely get 2 months to play with the snow and in North Dakota. You don't get a very much time
this year.
In your year really. You never know how much snow we're going to get. So it's really just it's reps and reps and reps and reps, and it clearly you can see the kids that do it, and you can see the kids that don't do it, and it just makes them more comfortable and more intelligent baseball-wise. You learn when you're playing the game for 5 months opposed to 2 months. It's a mental thing. It's a physical thing. You can see it.
And back to Watkins and Harris. What kind of guys are Mayville State Comets baseball getting right now with those two?
Kids that I think are pretty driven, and it wasn't always for Calvin. I think he kind of knew he always wanted to play baseball. For Kersey, it wasn't always that way. Kersey, when he was younger, he's one of the kids that came in as a freshman, and he was 5'4", 103 pounds soaking wet. He was a stud wrestler, and he kind of grew into his body. And by the time his junior year came around, he kind of put it into his brain. This is maybe something you could do is play baseball at the next level. And once he figured that out, he really started putting more time into it. A lot of work into it. Been doing different programs with Pats down at Heilman's and things like that. And he's really, as soon as he figured out that he has the potential to do it, he really put in the work to make himself better. And they're going to get that. And then with Calvin, like I said, he's always, he's been a baseball guy through and through ever since I think I started coaching him. He came here as a 7th or an 8th grader, and he's been baseball all the way through. And I don't really know what else to say besides you're just going to get a competitor with him. He's fiery. He works his tail off, and that's kind of what they're going to get, and they're going to get a lot of character.
What's always appointment viewing is any signing day at Bishop Ryan, and I go down there for Calvin and Kersey's signing, of course, with the big Bishop Ryan backdrop that everyone's so invested in. And when I was there filming, their names are so close where I nearly accidentally say Calvin Harris, one of my favorite DJs. Yep. So just on that note, what's kind of the pre- and post-game playlist for the Lions heading into a big game or after a big win or when you guys are on the bus?
Honestly, I don't even know. That's all between the pregame. All the kids go out there and they have their AirPods, whatever now. So they go out there and throw by themselves. And in postgame, we don't really... I don't know if there is really a certain song that
millennial generation thing. They don't even enjoy their music together anymore.
No, it's all they all have their headphones, and we get on the bus and they throw their headphones in and listen. I suppose start texting their girlfriend and calling their girlfriend or whatever they do. We don't really have a.
That's what Logan Mark was always concerned about last summer. Yeah. He goes, he's on his phone. I'm like, get off your phone. You're at the baseball. I'm on Snapchat for all the honeys. I was like, you got your whole life ahead of you. You're just metros.
Snapchat blows my mind how much these kids use it. But hey, whatever they got to do, I guess.
Was it at least better for you? Did you guys at least rock out when you were playing?
We always. For us, it was always. What's the Barbara
Ann by the Beach Boys? Or what?
What am I thinking of?
Just hard rock in general. A little Metallica, a little 94.
Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline was always our song when I was playing. I always listened to it afterwards. I think it was after our state championship we won in 2009. It was just playing all weekend at the state tournament, and we won, and that song played, and it kind of just became our song.
So you didn't get sick of it at all because you won, and then
it was tough. The only thing that sucks about it is it's a Red Sox song.
Yeah, that's
what really bothers me. But hey, I won to it, so. Makes me feel good.
Speaking of looking back, tell us a little bit about some of the guys that you've played with or against, could be high school or Legion ball, that have gone on to big league and big time college careers.
Obviously there's a couple that I played against, both from West Fargo actually. One is Andy Young, who, even when we were in high school, you could tell he was a little bit different than everybody else. He was just talented, raw power. He wasn't a real big kid. He just was a stud. I think he's with the D-backs right now. I think I actually heard he's got a chance at potentially making the MLB roster this
season.
Yeah, I think he's had a pretty good few years in the minors. Kind of worked his way up. So I think he's got. And then the other one is Matt Strom, who we actually for our Vista when we won the championship in 2010 with the Vistas. We faced him in the semifinal round, and we beat him. I think we beat him 3-1. Chris Winkles was he threw a stellar game. Winkles did. And we actually beat Strom. And, in high school, he was good, obviously, lefty. But he didn't throw all that hard. And a few years later, came around and somebody said Matt Strom's with the Royals, and I was like, what? Looked it up, and apparently he improved like insane amount. And yeah, so he was with the Royals, and I think he's with the Padres now, and I think he actually pitched for the Padres quite a bit last year.
Yeah, come out of the pen blade.
Yeah, it's just kind of cool to have some kids that you know their names and know their faces that are up there. And then obviously, I think we talked about Ryan Bollinger. I played with him for, I think, just 1 year. In 2009 for the Vistas, I played with him. He was just, obviously, ever since he got to Minot, he was kind of special. Big, tall, lanky lefty. Hit the ball hard, threw the ball hard. He was a really, really cool guy to get to know, and kind of a goofball, all in the same. And it was just, it's cool knowing that he actually put on a Yankee uniform for a game. So that was also kind of a, being a Yankee fan, kind of a.
Oh yeah, you have his jersey.
Thing, no, I don't.
Just a number, just a number anyway.
Yeah, no, just a shock thing. Kind of seeing him in a Yankee uniform was pretty cool.
So you guys you play against these West Fargo guys mostly in high school or Legion, or you're just with Bollinger more?
I was with Bollinger more. Yeah, the other two from West Fargo. Obviously, I played at Bishop Ryan, so I didn't play against them in high school. Legion ball was the only time I got to see those guys. I never really knew them at all. I just it was cool to see their names and recognize their names when I saw them coming up. Bollinger, yeah, I spent some time with, obviously. He was on our team. Like I said, he was a goofball. A lot of personality. He would actually usually have to take BP first when we took BP, and he'd hit all his balls out onto the road at Corbett, and everybody else would take BP, and he'd have to go take a walk and pick up all his baseballs that he hit out on the road.
Give him something to do. Good leadoff hitter, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so then it's kind of interesting. It kind of runs the gambit a little bit when you're playing them at that age, whether they are capable of where they are right now, or there's still development time where you don't see it right away.
Yeah, it's that's kind of same thing with the high school kids that develop. Freshmen. You never know how you're going to develop once you get out of high school, and that's what I kind of tell some of the kids. I'm not going to be good enough to play. You never know. Kids mature at different times throughout their lives. So a kid could be 5'10", 150 pounds when he graduates. Well, the next year he gets into a college weight program, things like that. And next thing you know, he's 6'1", 210 pounds. You know what I mean? And they just develop different skills. Their hand-eye might get a little bit better as they age. You just never know how things are going to develop. So I always try to tell kids to keep an open mind. You never know what's going to happen.
What is it about the game of baseball where the guys can start at like small schools or transfer from a small school and make it big time? And is it also because just the reps that happen in college? Like you have college basketball guys that are one-and-doners and they're going to be in the NBA. They could be drafted out of senior year. But it sounds like there's a lot of changes that go on in a baseball player's development at that age. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of just, little skill things. Hand-eye coordination could develop quickly. You might tinker a little bit with a swing, and all of a sudden your swing really comes along. You get the coaching, I would say, gets drastically better when you go to a good college program. You're going to get a coach to tell you what you're doing wrong exactly and what you need to fix exactly. I think there's just so many little things in baseball that you can tinker with. You don't have to be 6'8" and have a 35-inch vertical. That stuff's irrelevant when it comes to baseball. It's kind of everybody's on the same playing field, and just little things that you can tinker from high school to college that clicks for somebody, and they take off from there.
It's just wild because I went to the College World Series to see my buddy in Omaha a couple years back, and you can have those prize recruits that go to those programs, but I looked up the guys that we were going to be talking about. Young, going to Jamestown, community college, hooking up in Ottawa, Kansas with Strom. He goes to Indiana State. Strom was testing the waters in Nebraska. Then he ends up going pro. You got Bollinger in Iowa Western. Just putting the work in, I guess, once you get to a spot like that, or what?
Yeah, I think putting in the work, and like you said, their bodies probably developed a little bit more. I think I read somewhere. I think Strom, when I played against him in high school, he was like 83 to 85-ish, and he went to this community college wherever. And I think now he's at like 94 to 96. So somewhere along the way, maybe it's just strength, maybe it's, the way he throws, striding differently, just little things that get tinkered with. And all of a sudden you have 8 miles on your fastball, and that goes a long way, especially when you're a lefty. And it's hard to explain, I guess. There's no really exact thing. It's just kids, something might click, something, their bodies develop a little bit. It's just something that's kind of bizarre, but it's cool to see.
You go from playing baseball to coaching it right now with the Lions. Just from a coach's perspective, do you feel like a lot of these small colleges maybe expect what might happen with these guys that develop like crazy? Because the guys we mentioned and so many other players, there's a lot of transferring that goes on in college baseball.
I don't know. I think probably a lot of these college coaches just look at like raw potential kind of sometimes in ways. Like I'll use Kersey as an example just because we've been talking about him. He wasn't a catcher when we first got him. He was a freshman. He was a second baseman, and we just kind of were at the point where we needed a backup catcher and we needed to teach somebody how to catch. Well, he just picked it up pretty quickly because he was a wrestler. Figured he was good side to side, good on the ground. We'll give him a shot, and he kind of enjoyed it, and he got to be pretty, decent at it. And I think if a college coach sees that, well, he's only been catching for 3 years, and you see what he's done in 3 years, you kind of look at the potential of him, of how much, he gets to go and have some college coaching, and he might blossom into something that they never thought they had. I think a lot of it, good coaches and good scouts, I think you can see potential in kids, and I think that probably has a lot to do with it.
Are there any other sports translations like wrestling being able to move for like stopping a potential pass ball or a wild pitch that maybe show up anywhere else in baseball at all?
I don't know.
Or is it pretty just specialized?
Yeah, it kind of just, you can tell when kids have good hands, quick, good hands as far as fielding around ball and stuff. He's probably an infielder. You can tell if a kid can, track a fly ball down and see a fly ball off the bat. Kids who get good jumps. I think you can just kind of see different little things. I think the only thing, me and Fred Nelson were sitting there and we needed a backup catcher and we had this little runt freshman and it was a wrestler, I think he was in the state championship as a freshman wrestler. And we're just like, hey, he's going to be quick side to side on the ground, we just figured might as well try and make him catcher.
It kind of plays into that point where it's so specialized where even back in the day when like steroids and stuff were rampant, like these guys can be ripped and they could excel in other sports, but there's still that skill of having to, hit that 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yeah, you gotta have the hand-eye coordination for it. No matter how many steroids you take, whatever you want to do to make yourself stronger, you see your hand-eye coordination still got to be there. You still got to be able to hit the baseball. Still got to field the baseball. There is still talent involved. It's not just big, strong men going up there and hitting baseballs. You got to have some sort of skill to do it. And like Barry Bonds. A lot of people don't want to give him that the best player that's ever played baseball because he did steroids. Well, he still had to hit the baseball, field the baseball, do everything he did. Maybe the steroids helped a little bit and juicing the numbers up, but you still got to be able to do it.
And Pittsburgh Barry Bonds, if he kept even that trajectory, he's probably still a Hall of Fame
probably
player.
Still, yeah, that's what I mean. Who knows? He maybe not hit many home runs, but other than double numbers could have been up. Things like that. So I get the steroid era of people being mad about it and upset about it, but still had to do it. And it's not like the hitters were the only ones doing it. You know what I mean? Pitchers were taking them too. They going from throwing to 92 to 98. That helps.
Roger Clemens having a crazy long career.
A lot of guys like that, So it wasn't just one side of the baseball.
Back to a couple of guys that you know. You mentioned Andy Young has a shot, hopefully even this season, to crack the Major League roster for the Diamondbacks. How much does this delayed season outlook maybe affect a fringe player that's trying to move up to the big leagues?
I guess I don't really know because I don't know a lot about the whole, people moving up in organizations and stuff. I don't know a ton about that. So I don't know how that's going to affect it. I suppose it'll just give guys that are on the fringe less opportunities to do stuff would really be the only thing that I would think is the more opportunities, the better chances you're going to get. So just the lack of opportunities would be, I imagine, is what would hold some of those guys up.
So one of your competitive rivals here, and you know him, but still, who wins the trade? The Cardinals getting Paul Goldschmidt Or the Diamondbacks getting Andy Young, Luke Weaver, and Carson Kelly.
Tough to go against Paul Goldschmidt. He's a stud.
Giving Andy and all these guys credit for like the first 20 minutes, and then
Tough to go against Paul Goldschmidt, no matter who you're trading.
Well, I think the worst thing is I hate seeing Paul Goldschmidt going to the Cardinals anyway, but whatever. And to the way that Strom's career kind of progressed, Wayne going pro versus like that next college step. He got a $100,000 signing bonus from Kansas City.
Not bad.
And he was picked, I know there's a bunch of rounds in baseball, but still, he was picked 643rd overall, and he's still getting $100K. But then I hear all these stories about how minor league baseball players have to room 3 and 4 together in crappy apartments and futons like we're back in college. Yeah. So how clutch are those signing bonuses to guys that aren't going to be major leaguers?
I mean, I suppose that's the biggest thing. I mean, when you decide to sign, when you get drafted and you decide to sign, I suppose a lot of it is, I suppose you have to kind of weigh, what are my options? Am I going to make it to the major leagues? Do I just get as much money as I can right now because I might be stuck in the minors for 8-10 years? I obviously don't know because I've never been in that situation, but I would imagine that the signing bonus has a lot to do with their income for a while.
Well, I mean, just the roommate setup. Imagine having $100K when you're in college in the dorms.
Yeah, I would go quick.
You think so?
I mean, for a college kid, I would imagine.
The student loans will be there.
Yeah,
don't worry.
They're at a point where they take care of their money a little bit better.
All right, so moving to Bollinger again. I'm going to give you one guess.
Oh, boy.
He suited up for the Yankees last year. You have his jersey, whatever number it was. Where is he now?
I want to say he's in Japan.
Close.
Or Germany.
He is with the Fubon Guardians of Chinese Professional Baseball League. I don't know if it's like the KHL where they have Russian teams and guys everywhere else. But anyway, that's where he is for this season. What do you think baseball players have to consider and weigh about taking that opportunity overseas in Asia? Because obviously it's probably like the next best league.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know he's been kind of all around. He's been in Germany for a bit. He was in Canada. I want to say he was in Australia for a while. I think he's gotten to the point now, and I obviously don't know. I haven't talked to him. But I would imagine he's been grinding and grinding and grinding. I'd imagine if somebody comes along and, they give you a decent enough paycheck, you got to kind of take your opportunity when you can to get a good paycheck. And I would bet that Chinese, is it the second best league?
I'm thinking like Japan. Japan's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
And then like
I imagine they're probably paying him a decent amount, and so he gets to go over there. And hey, if you're getting paid to play baseball, more power to you. Hey guys, I can do it. Hey, it'd be a lot of fun to get paid to do that.
I feel like going overseas might be a good time to break this up into what you also do besides coaching. Anything weird happen when you're delivering stuff? Maybe not overseas, but just at UPS around Minot?
No, I don't deliver. I work at the store, so I don't.
So you're lucky you don't have any horror stories unless you have to pack her up or what?
None of that. So I don't have to deal with any of that. I got off easy with that.
Speaking of somebody that might be packing up here soon, is Aaron Rodgers going to retire as a Packer after this first round fiasco?
I don't want to talk about this.
Well, I got several questions for you because it's so fascinating.
I mean,
it's going to be a long off season.
Yeah, it's going to be a long off season. Obviously, people know more than I do about it, but I don't think.
He's got like 3 years left. I have plenty of Packer buddies that know.
This is hard for me to say.
Yeah.
I don't think he will. If I had to take a guess right now, I'd say he probably retires a Niner because he goes back home to California.
He's not going to stick it like Favre did with the Packers.
All you Viking fans, I know you guys want him because you love him, but no, I think he's going to go with San Fran. No, I don't think he'll retire a Packer. I don't. The draft this year, taking a quarterback and taking a running back and not drafting a wide receiver, I don't get it. But maybe I think like Robbie Anderson's still out there. We signed Devin Funchess. So maybe the wide receiver position isn't as needy as I think. And then it's going to be fun to listen to Viking fans and Chicago fans complain about how we got lucky for the next 20 years when Jordan Love is the next great. So
you can always just try to hold it over people like you Packer fans. Are you a shareholder? Do you have the certificate?
No, I don't.
Okay, well then you're fair enough to. You don't have to be like hoity-toity. Oh, I am an owner of the team.
No, I'm not going to give you that. I'm just a fan.
Thank God. That's one less owner around here, and I don't want to beat the dead horse of a narrative, which is like Aaron Rodgers like being tough to coach, because I've already asked my buddies and podcast guests about it. So let's just talk about the Jordan Love pick just in the scope of things, because his comp that he's had right now is a Patrick Mahomes, okay? And it's oddly enough, his situation was with the guy that was drafted with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Alex Smith going number 1 that year and Rodgers sliding, and then Rodgers having kind of the better career, and then you see how Mahomes lit the world on fire as soon as he got a chance to start. So how much do you kind of see the comparison there? And, I mean, you guys have seen it before going Favre to Rodgers. He's picked with Green Bay now. I mean, how much do you support the plan possibly happening again?
I mean, obviously, comparing anybody to Mahomes is a little nutty to me. I mean, Mahomes, I think, is on a different planet than most people.
And he's in a great situation with the coach. But, I mean, coming out, he was just a Texas Tech guy. So,
I think a lot of what, I don't know, I suppose Jordan, I mean, you kind of, he's more raw, I think, which Mahomes was raw, too, coming out. I think Rodgers was, maybe seen as the number 1 overall pick. I don't think Love ever had that. But he's got raw ability. He's athletic. I think a lot of it will come down to is how much Aaron wants to help him. I don't know how much he's going to come. I don't know how much Aaron is going to want to help somebody that's trying to take his job. I think a lot of his development will depend on that. But
is that about Aaron? Would you say that about Alex Smith in Kansas City?
No, I wouldn't. I mean, I obviously I know I'm not oblivious. Aaron is sort of egotistical, but I also think he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. I think he probably, when it comes to football, usually is the smartest guy in the room. So there is a certain he is egotistical, but I think he kind of has proven to back it up a little bit. He can obviously be hard to get along with because he thinks he knows everything, but it's tough to argue when he goes out and does what he does. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think a lot of the development of Jordan Love is just going to depend on what Aaron does the next 3-4 years.
How much is Love going to benefit from being the bench guy for a year or 2 or maybe even 3? Because another thing that scouts were worried about was he was so awesome, not this year, but the year before last. And now he had like a ton of interceptions. So maybe how does that time off the field maybe translate to his decision making being better when he takes the field and lands?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at Jordan Love's last year, and this is just obviously I've only looked at a little bit about him, but he lost 9 starters from the year before when he had a good year, and he lost like 3 coaches. So I don't know how much I'm going to put into last year as far as their record and how he did. I think he was kind of not working with very much. I think he just, regardless, I think if you get to watch who I think is the most talented person play football, Aaron Rodgers, I think regardless if you get to watch him and learn from him 3 years, whether he's helping you or not, if you even get to watch him from afar, I think you're going to learn quite a bit.
If he doesn't want to help you,
you
or
know what
not.
I mean? I think regardless, you're going to learn quite a bit. And
Love was talking about
the draft is a kind of a crapshoot, anyways. There's obviously certain guys at certain positions that you can call are going to put on a Hall of Fame jacket, but as far as guys that are absolutely going to make it and be the real deal, it's just kind of you're guessing.
Love was talking about, he maybe was trying to do a little bit too much in his last year in college, and he even said, sometimes I was just trusting my guys too much, and that might play a little bit into losing all the starters that you were talking about. Moving to your next pro team, got into a little bit with Bollinger as the Yankees, they made again. Seems like it's been a little while since they made the marquee signing of all free agency, but how confident were you that Garrett Cole was going to New York?
Well, I mean, I was fairly confident. I knew he was a Yankee fan growing up and everything.
Brought the sign to the presser.
Yeah, I think it got to a point where the Steinbrenners just felt the pressure more than anything. Hadn't landed, obviously, besides Stanton, hadn't landed, the guy that they wanted year in and year out, that the fans wanted year in and year out. And I think they were kind of just going to give him a blank check and say, write it. So I felt pretty good about it.
Has it been pretty much since CC Sabathia joined the Yankees that they got the guy in free agency without being just rumored to get one?
As far as Pitt,
or am I missing someone?
No, I think that's probably right.
That was
CC because they
2009.
traded for Stanton. Yeah, that's probably
They've
it.
gotten way younger to their credit
Yeah,
usually.
I mean, unlike Yankee teams of the past who, everybody, they bought, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like what the Dodgers are doing now, buying everybody. They don't get the same crap that the Yankees get. But yeah, I mean, I think they've actually kind of built their team through the farm system in a way.
For once,
Yeah.
how much of a finesse was it for them to trade Aroldis Chapman to Chicago, get Gleyber Torres, and then just have Aroldis come back again?
I mean, it was good. As a Yankee fan, it was all. I mean, obviously, you get away with it. But if you're a Cubs fan, you can't be mad. He got you your championship, So I think it kind of worked out for both parties.
I was going to say, I guess the drought of more than 100 years is worth it to the Cubs to lose a guy like Gleyber because they've had so many good players over the years.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Aroldis was he was probably considered a final piece for the overall playoff run, but boy, he made you nervous in that Game 7.
Sure did.
Speaking of World Series Game 7s, what were the Astros thinking not bringing in Garrett Cole in that game?
I mean, it's easy for you, to us sit here and say, how do you not bring him in? But there's been, if you're a starting pitcher, your preparation and everything is so detailed and it's so much more extended than coming out of the bullpen. Some guys just aren't comfortable with it. And I'm not saying Garrett Cole wasn't comfortable with it. He probably would have loved to go in. But it's just, as a coach, you're more comfortable putting guys in positions that are used to being in that position, I think. And that's kind of what I would imagine why the decision was made.
This is where this show is different because in Sports Talk Radio, you're not allowed to take the hindsight as 2020 approach. You have to be super upset to drive the traffic and all that and stuff. One more point on Chapman. He's kind of making some waves this offseason. He is already thrown, when he came in like 103, and it looks like he got ripped again.
Yeah,
what do you expect? What do you expect out of him? Is going to be up to 103 again, or is his mechanics screwed because he's jacked, or what?
I could care less about how hard he throws. As long as he throws his slider and his changeup for strikes, you're going to make me a happy Yankee fan.
And a happy Bishop Ryan baseball coach, probably. Quick touch on golf. You're a big golf guy here. Who you got in this charity match coming up? It's Tiger and Peyton Manning against Phil and Tom Brady at an undisclosed location for COVID-19 relief.
I mean, I have no idea what Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are like on the golf course, but I would imagine Peyton's had a little more time on his hands. And so I'm going to take Peyton and Tiger. And because I'm more of a Tiger fan.
I forget if any of those guys show up too much at like the Tahoe tournament. I know Aaron Rodgers is always there throwing the football out to the pontoon boats or whatever. If you were in a match, would you rather play with Tiger or Phil?
Tiger.
Tiger all day?
All day.
Yeah,
I don't
100%.
hate Phil. I don't have anything against Phil. I think Tiger's just, that would be like a dream thing. I just, Tiger Woods all day.
And, I went to the University of Maryland in my freshman year. I got to dorm right over the golf course. It was a great view on the floor of Easton 8. But, my college upbringing, I know this is going to, be sort of fast for you. I'm not a big Duke guy. And just because we're going to be nice to you, we're going to let Jake Stack talk all about Duke. I think he will definitely fill that segment up. So, no Duke, not this time. No further questions.
I'll let Jake hold it down. I know he holds it down for Duke.
Mags, thanks a lot.
Thank you.